welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I am Renee Allen, the host of this podcast, and I'm excited to be here today. Happy almost summer. We're coming to the end of May if you're listening currently. If not, happy wherever you are, time of year. But I always get excited about changes, and then I always miss the old. I don't know if you do that or not, but I'm just probably, I can't commit to it, but I'm probably just going to have one episode this week because I'm going out of town. I don't know if I'll get a chance to record another one before I leave. So I'm just getting that out there in case there's not two. But, you know, with ADHD, you can be impulsive. You can find other ways to do things. You can not plan ahead and just try to do something last minute, and that may happen. So we'll see. But thank you for being here. So today I am going to talk to you about multitasking. And I love to multitask. I don't know if you do. And I've always thought I was really good at it. I've been reading that it's not the best strategy. But when I read about that, I think maybe it depends on what you're doing. Because some things you kind of have to multitask with, like laundry. You can't just do laundry all day long and nothing else because there's a time frame with it. You put the laundry in the washer and then you wait for it to be done and then you switch it. Unless you're going to a laundromat and you can do 4 or 5 loads or whatever it is at a time, or you have multiple washing machines and dryers, I don't. It is going to be something that you're doing in the middle of doing something else. You have to take a break from what you're doing. You can do another task, split that task, split your focus, and maybe come back to what you were doing before. If you have a problem coming back and knowing what you were doing before, you may need to create a personal assistant. I had an episode, I don't know how long ago, a couple months ago, about being your own personal assistant, that if you had somebody there that was your reminder, like I'm going to forget that I was paying my bills or something, and I came back from doing laundry, forgot about it, and then was late on the homeowner's insurance, and now our house isn't covered. Drawn from real experiences of people here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I liked my homeowner's insurance company when I lived in California because I just paid it once and never had to think about it again. From the time I signed it up to the time we moved, 11 years, never thought about it. Here, not the same. Not the same. We have our names on 2 houses, our house and our son's house. And it's a mess. It's a mess every year. It's a nightmare for someone with ADHD. And my son's house has gone uninsured twice. And it's scary to think, until this is handled, what if something happens? But, so far we're okay. A lot of scrambling in between. But multitasking can lead to mishaps and problems and things like that. So I just want to give some pros and cons. Because I think there are some pros, even though we're told not to multitask, because there are some pitfalls. There are definitely some cons, but I've tended to think that if I'm multitasking, I can get more done. It increases my productivity. Researchers say that it actually decreases our productivity because it makes it so the quality of work that we're doing isn't as good if we're switching between tasks. If you're cooking dinner and you're also working on something on your computer and you're going back and forth, there's a good chance for me, I know I forget ingredients. I think I put something in or forgot, especially when I bake it, because that's the thing I love to do the most is baking. In the past 5+ years of my ADHD symptoms increasing in different ways, I've made a lot of breads, cookies, cakes, whatever, forgetting something. One time I made gluten-free chocolate chip cookies that I had made before. It's not a recipe I've done that I've used enough that I have it known where I can just do it without thinking about it. But it's a recipe that a friend of mine brought to a fitness trip I went to, and it's made with almond butter. And it's gluten-free, it's all these healthy things, but for sure it's calorie dense. And I ate so many when we were on that trip. I probably, even though we did multiple classes a day, I probably still brought in far more calories than I burned off. But anyway, So my oldest daughter has celiac, and so does her son. So I decided to make these cookies to celebrate an occasion with her husband, and thought, oh yeah, that recipe with almond flour. Well, my memory was almond flour, not almond butter. Anyway, I had a lot of other things going on at the same time, so I didn't really look at the recipe very closely. But as I made it, I could see something is off here because there's not enough wetness to the cookie dough. And sure enough, it called for almond butter, which I did not have, and didn't have time to go to the store and buy any. And I had put in almond flour instead of the almond butter, and that was a problem because I completely changed the recipe. So I had to just improvise. And I found jars of peanut butter that didn't have gluten, that were new, that hadn't been used with a knife. So I was able to remedy, and they were actually really good. I could never duplicate it, but a lot of mistakes, oversights are more likely to happen. And that's why it's dangerous to be driving and multitasking. We're told that all the time, with cell phones. That is multitasking, when we're using our cell phone, paying attention to it while we're driving, because the brain is switching back and forth, and the brain doesn't always remember what you're doing. And mistakes can be really dangerous if you're multitasking. Other times it's just maybe some cookies that didn't turn out well, or a bill that you forgot to pay. But it actually isn't more efficient, although it might feel like it is, because you're working on more things at a time. And so it might feel like, oh, I am more efficient. It might feel like you're saving time because you're able to get two things done in a short amount of time. But studies show that you actually spend more time because you're having to readjust your brain to bring it back to what you were doing. Although I would say with ADHD, and doesn't have to do with the driving aspect, but with ADHD, we tend to need stimulation. We need something to drive us to do something. And if we are happier cleaning a closet, going from cleaning the closet to making the bed to changing the sheets to washing the sheets to whatever, if that boosts your energy to where you can actually work on it, and it's kind of fun, and you're in a flow and you're doing it, mistakes like that won't matter as much. If you forget that you were in the middle of making your bed or whatever it is, that might not matter. And if you're within the same room, it might be okay, especially if you tend to hyper-focus. So let's say you are cleaning out your closet, and as you're cleaning out your closet, you see something that needs to go into the bathroom. You go into the bathroom, and you see, when you open the drawer, I have the kind of energy right now to clean out my makeup drawer. And then you spend an hour or two cleaning out your makeup drawer, go back to your closet. It's quite a bit undone. And your bed, you were throwing the sheets there to the hallway so you could take it to the laundry room. You might have created quite a stir of dust in your path. But if that makes you happy and you're able to accomplish something that you wouldn't have anyway, my take on it is there can be some pros there, because you're actually getting things done instead of having your what are they called? Wheels spin. I wanted to say wheels spin, but I almost said wings. So I was like, wings spill? What? Yeah, my brain is multitasking from trying to think of words and convey ideas. But yeah, so there can be little hiccups for sure. It doesn't necessarily save time, but it might cause you to spend the time doing something that you wouldn't do otherwise. I spend or waste a lot of time reading threads on Reddit or whatever it is, just because I can't get myself to do something that feels daunting or harder to do. But if I get myself doing that and I happen to multitask at the same time, I'm not going to stop myself if I'm still being productive. Does that make sense? But at the same time, if there's something that really is important to have it work out, and even laundry, how many times, raise your hand if you've done this. I always wonder if I'm the only one raising my hand. But raise your hand if you've ever done the laundry and at the end you realize you never put soap in, or you don't remember if you put soap in. Or it's mid-morning, you have ADHD medicine that you take every morning, and you don't remember if you took it or not, because you don't really have some kind of schedule where when I do this, and when I do that? Is it not, do you not have a system set up where that's part of your morning and you decided to do a few other things before you left the house that you don't normally do? And sometimes that happens. Our lives, aren't predictable. But sometimes our need to get things done when we feel like it gets in the way of things that are more important. And if you're not paying attention to what you're doing because you're in the middle of doing something else, you could forget, did you take your ADHD medicine? Did you take your asthma medicine? I have chronic asthma. So when my asthma is bad, I really need the steroid inhaler puffer thing, Advair or the generic, whatever it is, twice a day. I'm not supposed to take it 2 times at night and 2 times in the morning, just once at night, once in the morning. If I don't remember, if I don't have a system set up, and this has happened many times, and yes, they have a counter on it, but how are we supposed to really remember what the count was the day before? I don't know, I'm not meticulous enough to write that down. But when it's important, I do. Like when I broke my wrist, and if you're on YouTube, you can see my scar, if it doesn't gross you out. I don't know if you can see it or not. Anyway, that's just to give you hope. When my scar was all red and I thought, is this what it's going to look like forever? I went to a fitness trip like I just talked about, and a woman showed me her scar, and it wasn't red, it was white. And she said, oh yeah, they fade over time. Give you hope. If your hand can't move, my hand moves again. Yay. Anyway, so yeah, when that was important, when I was taking heavy pain medication, along with over-the-counter pain medication, along with medication, or, things to make it. I never want to be medical here, because not that I'm afraid to share information, but just because I don't want to gross anybody out. But, things to help my digestion because of the pain medication and all those things that were on different hourly schedules, like the prescriptive opioid, which thank goodness I didn't get addicted to. I wasn't afraid of it, but so same with everybody else who didn't get addicted to it. So thank goodness I didn't. But that was every, 4 hours or 6 hours or something. The other one was one was 4 hours, one was 6 hours, one was 3 hours, whatever. And then there was also eat before you take this. It's like, oh my goodness, And then the anti-nausea, I had to take the anti-nausea pill. Yeah, so I did write it down. It was that important. With asthma, I haven't gotten to that point. But you may need to be your own assistant if you need to do something like that. That's important. But sure, life is full of multitasking, right? We get up, we take a shower, maybe, put on makeup, maybe. I have a friend who stopped putting on makeup years ago. I don't know how she did that, but she did. And she just said, then if somebody ever sees me without my makeup, they're not like, what? Like she can just get up and look the same every day. But, and she also has ADHD, and maybe that was her thing. I don't want to do all those steps anymore. I got to that point years ago with washing my face, probably in college. I don't want to do all this anymore. But anyway, so yeah, multitasking. There can be realities of we have to do this. Other times we can control it. Sometimes you have to focus on, I'm going to do a single task right now, and that's it. And that's where the do later list is so helpful. I need to get that on my website. I keep telling you I'm redoing my website, and yeah, it's looking better, but it's not super functional. But anyway, I made a do later list. That's part of, there's a focus guide, and then there's a focus journal. The focus journal has the do later list. And it's so wonderful, because when you do need to just focus on one thing, that's what singular tasking is, or doing one task is I need to only do this. Like the horses with blinders. I don't know if people ever see those anymore, but in the olden days in cartoons, they always had them. I don't know why, but the blinders on, like you can't do anything else, but you have so many thoughts that come into your mind of what else you need to do. So that's where we think, oh, I'm a good multitasker because I'm remembering to do all the things that come up in my mind. My brain keeps thinking of all those things. Maybe not when I'm supposed to be doing it, but it keeps coming up. So when you have a place to put those to-dos, those other things that come up, it can be as simple as, I want to go on a walk with my friend. It might not be like, I can't forget this, but a new idea, or I need to buy more laundry soap, or whatever it is. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. Also, just getting digital things away. If you're not using a digital item, a phone, a computer for the task that you need to do, that's where paper is nice. Your own journal to your due later list. You will need lots of columns. That's why I made this printable version, because I found there's so many categories of things that come up in my mind. I had to organize them. But anyway, so yeah, that's another way to manage that. But there's a myth that multitasking isn't taxing on the brain, like it doesn't really affect our brains. And it can actually cause fatigue in the brain. We might think it's energizing if we're doing more things at once. And maybe it's just so we can, reach that finish line, not have to think about that thing to do anymore. But it actually does really tax our brains, max it out, fatigue it, and increase stress. So if you're constantly saying, what was I doing? What was I working on? Where was I? And then like for me with recipes that are from Pinterest or something, I have to bring up my computer again, find it. I really do like to print out recipes if I find them on Pinterest, because I don't like having to turn my screen on again. And then I might see an email or I might see something that distracts me. So anything that is non-digital, if you don't need to use a device, make that happen, or put on music or a podcast. It's kind of funny because when I was researching multitasking, they were using examples like folding clothes and watching TV. To me, that is not multitasking. Like watching TV is not a task. It's an enjoyment. It's a way to keep me there, so I fold my clothes. And same with listening to a podcast if I'm getting stuff done. It's not a task. My brain's listening to that, but that is stimulating me so I can get this other stuff done. So I know I'm breaking all the rules here, but I don't count that as one. But yeah. And it's kind of funny because another myth is that if you're younger, you're really good at multitasking. Like you're able to do it and it's okay to do it then. It's also hard for kids to do this. It's also hard to study and also be responsible for this or that or whatever. It really is better for the brain at all ages to focus on one thing at a time. And just having my 4 grandchildren here this week, I had to really recognize that. And especially since one for sure diagnosed with ADHD, another one, my daughter is probably going to, take her in later on. She's younger, but I see it with my other grandson who has ADHD too, that if I talk to him about doing more than one thing, like come on, we're going to get in the car, grab your water bottle, get your shoes, I am asking him to multitask. I'm giving him a list of things to do, putting it all in his brain right then, when what I've had to learn to do is we're about to leave, I need everyone to put on your shoes. And then, okay, everyone grab your water bottle. One thing at a time, because just because kids are younger and their brains are fresher and newer and their bodies are stronger and they're so much cuter. My goodness, and their skin, hair, everything's so beautiful. Oh yeah, children are so beautiful. I love children so much. I was thinking yesterday when I was in the swimming pool with them, it's just reminding me when I'm fully responsible for the kids and not just grandma, it just brings back the feelings of being a mom. And I love it so much. And I feel so grateful that I love it so much because I know not everyone enjoys it as much. It's really, and it can be hard. It definitely takes a lot of your energy. But what a sweet opportunity to be with children. I feel like that message needs to get out into the world more because, I don't know, I hear a lot of people mention children like it's a difficult or, our children are, I don't know, hard to be around. They're not hard. For me, I love them so much. Anyway, okay. Multitasking. So is it essential for you to multitask to be successful? No. The world makes us think that. Even with accomplishments, this person does this. And you look at someone's accomplishments and you think the only way I could do that is if I was just going full speed all the time, working on all these things. Not true. Not true. People do things in chunks of their lives, like what they study, what they work on, and they get exhausted too if they try to fit in too much. Also, whatever you put your time and energy or even money into, there's a limited supply of everything. Even, well, maybe not for the cajillionaires, but basically there's a limited supply of everything, of how much energy we have before we need to go to sleep, or how much money, if we put our time and money in this, if I go outside and work on gardening for a week, a lot of things are going to fall apart inside the house. And if I'm okay with that, or I balance it out, or I regroup or reframe how my life is set up or my system, I might do that. But anytime you look at someone else and see all of the things that they do to be successful and think, I can't do that, what's wrong with me? You're probably doing things that they're not doing. Things that might be a priority to you might not be something that even matters to them. Or they may have the resources to pay other people to do some of the things that you do, whether your reason is because of money or just priorities, or you want control of it. A lot of things I want control of. I don't want other people to do for me, but I don't have the money to give them to do it anyway. But anyway, yeah. So comparing is hard. It's hard because we tend to see, I don't know, a lot of things that are listed as great achievements too aren't a full scope of human life, humanity. And if you wrote down all the things you give your time and energy to and the people you bless in your lives, you would have a very long list too. It might not matter as much to somebody else, but it matters to the people that are in your world. So just that little bit. But yeah, so I really, speaking of multitasking, yeah, I do need to go. So that I'm not multitasking, so I'm not doing this and something else. But I will try to get one more episode. I know I said I'd just have one next week, which is this week now to you. But I know this also hasn't been as long as I would like to cover and stuff. So I'll give you some more strategies in the next episode. But June is just around the corner. I am doing June Decluttering Month, and I want to provide accountability for any of you who need it, even if it's just emailing and telling me what is overwhelming you clutter-wise in your life, your home, your work, your car. And even if it's as simple as I want my car to be clean on the inside and outside for all of June, email me and tell me, and I'll help keep you accountable, because I do 1,000 times better. I feel like I'm 7 years old when I give statements like that, 1,000 times better. But anyway, yeah, I do much better when I'm working with a friend, and I can be your friend. I'm your friend. and this is free. There may be days that I have big accountability groups that might be a paid program or something, but not now. Right now it's free. So feel free to write to me, Renee at inspiringwomenadhd.com, or go to my website. Today, my goal will be to get a newsletter sign-up form on there. I have so many other things on there that don't matter right now that I'm going to have a newsletter sign-up form where I can email you, and then you'll be in and you'll get my information. I'm going to send tips and accountability where we can write back and forth and stuff for June. So that is it. Thank you so much. I don't want to go now, but I really do need to go. So thanks again for listening, watching, and be sure to share my podcast with a friend or a couple of them. I would really appreciate it if our community grows. But thanks so much. Bye.
The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me. I buttered my toast, spread on some grape jelly. I don't mean to boast, but I'm a chef and a good one. Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause. No time for a pause. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short, the silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.